G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm going to be doing a quick install of Peppermint 10. That's just a bonus install. Situation I have here is my brother's I installed Peppermint 10 probably almost 2 years ago, I think, on one of his laptops back in Melbourne, which is about almost 3,500 kilometers away, and probably for those in the US, that's 2,100 miles or something like that. He lives on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. He needs to update his Peppermint, and he's forgotten how to do that because I don't think he's used it much since I installed it. So what I'm going to do is install Peppermint 10. This is the Peppermint 10, which one is this one? It is the Peppermint 10 Respin, which was released on the 10th of the 12th, 2019. So we're coming up almost 2 years. So I thought while I'm showing him how to do updates, I might as well just do a quick install of Peppermint anyway and just show people how that works. Once it's installed, we shall do the update and I will demonstrate how that's done. It's quite a simple process really. My brother's nowhere near a Linux enthusiast, so just need to refresh his memory on how to do that. Once we've done that, we will take a look at the ICE application, which I'm hoping he will find quite useful for banking and also for anything else that he might want to do. And to back that up for security, I'm going to demonstrate how to use KeepassXC, which I've learned how to use. And I thought I'd demonstrate how that can be very handy for your security as well. Not only for security, but holding all your passwords and things like that. So let's get on with that. So let's start the VirtualBox, try Peppermint OS Live. Let's do that. We can select install, but I'll just do the live bit first and we'll do it from the live desktop. Okay, first of all, we shall change, that's full screen that, and I'll change the resolution on that. And we'll go to Peppermint settings panel. Hardware, yep, display doesn't work. I think AR and R will. So we'll go to, I think it's layout, no, view, outputs, VGA, resolution, and 1920 by 1080. Click the button, and there we have our new display resolution. Let's close that. Now let's install Peppermint. Let's do that. This is going to be a basic install. This is going to be just installed to the whole disk. My keyboard is English US. Be a normal installation, download updates and install third-party software for your graphics and Wi-Fi drivers and media formats and things like that. So let's continue that. Now what I'm going to do is erase disk and install Peppermint. Now doing this, make sure you've either two things, backed up all the data on the hard drive if you intend to keep that data. If not, then it's not a problem, but this will, just keep in mind, this will erase everything on that hard drive. So just keep that in mind and we shall install now. And it's going to show us the changes it's making to the disk. That's all good. Let's continue that. And for me, it's Perth, Australia. It's automatically detected that. Let's continue. Now we put our real name. For me, it's Colin Brash. Hit the tab button, or you can click on that. We'll just call this, from now on, I'm doing all VirtualBox called test because my modem's getting full of too many names. Pick a username. The username will always be the first name of your real name, and it's got to be all in lowercase. Now you can do that, numbers and all that sort of thing, as long as there's no, if you put a space there and do numbers, you can't have a space, and as you can see there's an error there. It can only be all lowercase. If you put a capital, there's a capital there, that doesn't work either. If you put a lowercase, that's fine. So it's just got to be lowercase and no spaces. and we choose a password. And let's continue. So I think it was about, on the clock on here, it's not 3 here in Perth, it's a lot earlier than that, but that's just picked up a random time there. It was about probably 3 on that when we started, approximately. So we'll see how long this takes, including the install as well. Okay, so we have an error here. Haven't seen that error before. Now this could be because the ISO is a couple of years old. Let's just click OK on that. Hopefully everything will be okay. Installation is finished. Okay, so let's restart now and see what happens. Oh, phew, started. I didn't think it was going to start. Thought I was in trouble there, but it's all good. It's all worked. So we'll log into Peppermint. I didn't log in correctly. I don't know, my mouse wasn't, let's log out. My mouse was all over the place. I was on guest session. So maybe I have to shut down. I'm not getting any keyboard response whatsoever on login. I don't know what's going on there. Let's shut down and try again. Let's start that up again. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so let's try that. Now it's working. Just a first boot glitch there for some reason. It's all good. Let's just go back to the Peppermint settings panel, hardware, and sort out the resolution on here, AR&R. And outputs, this one here, resolution 1920 by 1080. Tick the box, done deal. Okay, so there we go. Now we're up and running. So what we're going to do here is we have a blue shield with an exclamation mark here. Let's just zoom in on that and check that out. There you can see the blue shield. Now when it's blue, that means there's updates. So if we hover on that, 427 recommended updates available. So what we're going to do is left click on that with your mouse, left click, and click on install updates. And this upgrade will trigger additional changes. Just click OK on that. Put in your password. Okay, so D package was interrupted. You must manually run. Okay, so we have an issue here. Now, this is probably because this ISO is a bit old. Possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just guessing at the moment that's the reason why. Now, we need to open the terminal. Now, my terminal's on the panel. I'm not sure about my brother's terminal. Maybe I took it off the panel. If you click on here, there's a terminal there. Or you can just type TERM. There's your terminal there. So let's do that. So I didn't really want to be doing any terminal work, but if he does get this error, or anyone else is installing Peppermint and gets this error, just copy this here, this bit here. Not the quotes, don't copy the quotes, just the words. Right click and copy. Now we need administration privileges, so we're going to have to type sudo, put a space, and then paste that command into the terminal there after sudo with a space, and hit enter. Put in our password. So it's saying that the grub has been modified since installation. Let's just keep the current version and just press enter. We'll do nothing else there but enter. And that's let that do its thing, and we shall see how we go with updates after that. Now my brother's Peppermint Linux install, I think when I installed it I was there for a couple of weeks, so it was probably up to date. It probably had a couple of updates done to it while I was there because I was using it. I wouldn't think he'll have this problem. That's probably just a fresh install issue there, I think. So that's, once you get your username there on the terminal itself, you can close that, and we'll close the error, which closes the updater. And now we'll wait for this shield to turn blue again, which it has done. So let's left click on the shield once again, click install updates. So we get to see that demonstration twice. Click OK, put in your password. And it looks like that has sorted out that issue. That's what can happen when an ISO gets a little bit old. There can be some issues, but as long as it's easily sorted out, it's not a problem. Looks like Peppermint 10 is handling that okay. It did give us a recommendation of a command to put in the terminal to sort that issue out, and that's worked no problem at all. So we'll come back when the updates are complete. So if you get any questions like this, replace configuration file, normally I just click replace on that. So let's do that, replace. And that is the updates complete. So the updater just closed itself automatically. And as you can see down here, we have a green tick in the shield. And if we hover over that, it says your system is up to date. Now, I'm on VirtualBox, but on real hardware, I'd recommend a reboot after all those updates. However, I'm going to continue. So what we're going to look at now is the application called Ice. So let's open Ice. Gives you a web app. So it's like opening an installed application like text editor or something like that. It's installed on the system. It opens up in its own box. So this is what Ice does, but you're opening things up within, in this case, Firefox, in its own contained application. So normally when you open Firefox, which we'll do now, you normally have to go to Firefox. So you'd normally go to Firefox. You might have, let's right click here and show menu bar. And you might have, actually no, I wanted to show bookmarks toolbar always show. So you might have a toolbar here or bookmark. You click on that and then it takes you to your website. And there's just a few steps in the process to get to that. Whereas here, what we're going to do is, for a demonstration, I'm going to use our banking login. It's the NetBank login is what I'm searching for here. So NetBank login, let's go to that. So that's our NetBank login. Now, what we're going to do with NetBank login is left click this address bar here, right click, copy, go to Ice, and we're going to name the Ice application. So I'm going to call it NetBank. And I'm going to click on the enter web address box, right click and paste that URL. Now, where in the menu do you want this? You can have it in any category you like. Makes sense to have it in internet because we're doing things on the internet. So, and you've got your menu here. You can choose your category from here if you wish. Default is internet. I doubt whether we'd find an icon for NetBank on the system, so we'll choose use site favicon, and yes, there we go. Some sites have an icon which is called a favicon, some sites don't. If your website does not have a favicon, you can make your own probably and then select it from here. Then we click apply, and that's our web app made in Peppermint 10. So let's go to here and go to internet. We can go to our NetBank that we just created, or you can go to the menu and type NetBank. There it is there. You can click enter, and there we have our NetBank login. One thing I did forget to mention on Ice is you can create the SSB with an isolated browser profile, but note Firefox SSBs are always isolated, so we don't need to check that off because Firefox is already isolated naturally with the Ice application. So now the other thing we're going to do is click on Software Manager. Let's open that. Now we're going to look for we're going to search in the search box here for an application called KeepassXC. There it is there. There's a flat hub. We'll just install from the repos. Click on that and click install. And it's going to use additional software. They're just dependencies needed for this application. Click continue, put in our password, and that is installed. So what we're going to do with KeepassXC, let's just search the menu. There it is there. Let's open that. To start this KeepassXC, you need to create a new database. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to save it in documents. And just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to call it my KeePass. Let's just do that. That's what they call everything these days online. My this and my that. So that's my KeePass. Let's save that. Now, this is the important step. A very strong password is required here. Doesn't have to be, but for your own security, a very strong password is recommended at this point, because that's the only password you need to get into all your other passwords. So I'm just going to make a very simple one here. And this line is yellow because the passwords currently don't match. So let's do that. Now that yellow's gone away, that means that those passwords are matching. Click OK, and that is done. So if we close that, we now have a file generated for that. So let's go back to KeepassXC. So what we want to do here is we want to add a new entry, which we can do so here. So let's do that. And the title is going to be NetBank. And the username is going to be Mr. C. Brash. Let's just put that, make up some fabricated name, some fabricated username anyway. So the password, I'll just keep quite simple. And the yellow line there indicates that the passwords currently don't match. And now they do match. So now what we can do is hit apply. Now in the notes here, you can put information like NetBank PIN number is 45678, say for example, and apply that. Entry updated successfully, and that is our NetBank password done. Now we can click on the seeing eye here, and it'll show you your passwords. And then you can click that back off. Now the other thing is with this is if we go to Firefox, we go back to our NetBank login, left click on that, right click and copy, and we can also paste that URL in here as well and apply that. Entry updated successfully. Now we can close Firefox. Now what we can do with that is we can click OK. That's done. Now we've got our web app for NetBank, but if we didn't, let's just say this is another application, you can easily click on the URL down here and it'll take you to the website. So the whole reason for this is if we click on NetBank and if we hover over here, it says copy username to clipboard. So left click on that, right click on client number and click paste, which is our username. And then we left click on copy password to clipboard, right click and paste, and click login. Now that's not going to work obviously because it's not the correct credentials, but you get the idea there. It's probably better if you do it where these aren't sort of overlapping each other. So you can left click, right click and paste, left click, right click and paste, log on. And it's not, obviously that's not going to work. So that's how you use KeepassX. Now the other thing you can do is you can make groups. So you can add a new group and you can call that banking, say for example. You can make some notes here if you want to. Click OK. Now you've got banking. So you can put that into banking and you can put all, if you've got other banks that you deal with, you can put them all under this folder. Let's just say you've got 10 or so banking and you've got many other things in here as well. You could just stay here and just do a search for NetBank and there's your NetBank there. And you found it already, you can click the URL. So searching helps you find, you don't have to use groups, you can just have many entries and you can use the search box here to simply find an entry. Now just to look at the tools and the settings, if we have a look under security, I think it is there. What makes this secure is it gives you 10 seconds to copy and paste that, and after 10 seconds it clears it from your clipboard. If you was to copy and paste things normally, you wouldn't even bother clearing the clipboard, which makes you very vulnerable to other people. They could get information. If you get hacked, they can get the information from your keyboard, from your clipboard. Did I say keyboard? And get the information from your clipboard, and then they've got your passwords there. So that clears it from the clipboard. So it's a nice 10 seconds is a nice little time to sort of just copy and go over there and paste, and that's done. It's okay to have everything on digital, but for me personally, I have everything written down in a book. Everything, all websites, everything in a book. If something happens to me, at least my family have a book that they can go to, and they can have access to all my digital processes here on my computer if they need to shut down accounts and things like that. It's always good to have things written down. Put it in a safe place where nobody knows. Don't just rely on the computer itself. So the other thing with KeepassXC, if we double click on NetBank there and come back to this page where we first made this entry, if we go to the little seeing eye here, you can see your password. That's what I like about this application is if I want to know what my passwords are, I can come back in here and have a look at what my password is, my username and password. I find that very handy. So if you have generated your own passwords and you haven't written them in a book yet, you can come back here and you can check out your passwords, write them all down in your book, done deal. And any information you got in the notes there as well. So that's what I like about this one. All these other ones where it generates passwords and 128 letters and numbers and all sorts of characters and whatever, if you lose your password to this application and they're automatically generated, you're going to have to change all your passwords through that website, forgotten password and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I prefer to have my own passwords, to be honest. So that was KeepassXC. So that was Peppermint 10 install, checking out updates and also using the application Ice to create your own web apps, and also KeepassXC to increase your security and make your life just that little bit easier. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.